Well, it looks like we've found our natural rival in this FM24 save because after beating us in the final of the FA Trophy last year, after beating us early in the National League season, the last game we actually lost in this save, we've now drawn Chesterfield in the first round of the FA Cup. We've got some signings in as we're in a promotion battle with them too. There's a surprise leader at the top of the table. Let's go and see what's been going on. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 11 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today up in second place in the National League table, but we've got a big game against a promoted side that are flying high in the playoffs. We thought in the last episode that Scunthorpe may have been the strongest of the four sides coming up, but Yeovil have proven that to be very wrong. But we have got some very strong signings in the door, got a couple of injury blows which has forced some of the change, and we've also got Chesterfield in the FA Cup with another opportunity to make the second round. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can and meeting some star signings that we've brought into Southend United, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We're going to go and have a look at the transfer centre because it has been action-packed. But I think barring injuries and the odd little bit of cover, we have got our squad now for the rest of the season. We're going to start with that before we get into the two games. So let's have a look at what's been going on. Firstly, some potential news on the outs front. Unfortunately, Danny Hilton has been declining. He's not been playing as much as we like. He did score that big goal on his debut. He did make an impact in some games. And to an extent, he did serve his role because Cardwell got plenty of rest. There's some more news on him later as well. But it looks like he'll now be moving on to Braintree. He's just not been able to keep up this year. And if he's not training brilliantly, if he's not contributing when he's coming on, we probably can't justify him staying here. But what we have done, though, is improved the squad immeasurably since you were last here. We were having frustrations considering loan players where we couldn't get the players of quality on permanent deals. And obviously earlier in the summer, we were missing out on a lot of players that then went to EFL clubs. But what happened as the season moved on is that more players got frustrated because they couldn't get moves. We also got a few more who were loan listed who didn't get an EFL move before the window shut. And John still has continued to find some from lower leagues that may be useful. We've also, as a result of that, been able to move out a few of the backup fringe players on loan, which is probably quite useful for them because they've come from lower league football, they've not had a chance to play much, and while they could sit on our bench and rot away, it's better that they get a full year of football, see if they're able to improve enough, and then we can bring them back if they are. So let's start with the players who have gone out. Ben Stevens is the first of them. Was actually on the bench in the last episode, wasn't he? But he's now gone to Maidstone after not really featuring for us this year. He's doing okay there, not playing brilliantly, but certainly getting involved in the action. We've also loaned out Jack James to Kings Lynn. He's moved on because we've got a very good right back coming in on loan, and he'll go there for the rest of the year if he improves enough, and if we stay down, he may well come back and be in the squad, and if not, we can move him on at the end of his deal. But again, all of these served their purpose last year. As Tommy Smith is the third in that category, he goes on loan to Eastbourne Borough. Again, they're paying most of his wages and they're going to offer him regular football. So I think it's a good thing for us. He is a good player. And in fairness, he is a little younger than the others, so may still have a chance. But for now, doing really well in the National League South, and we'll see how he comes back. And then the latest one to go out was Joe Rye. He's gone to Torquay, where he's going to play in the National League South. Again, we've got another player in of high quality on loan for less money in terms of contribution. So at Torquay, hopefully he'll get the chance to do that. They've got decent facilities. They're a good club. They're professional. And at 20 in a division below, maybe he can prove his worth. But for now, let's go and move on to the ins because 6 players have joined the club since you were last here. One we'd been tracking for a while and we're bringing in as a backup player, partly due to injury problems. A couple of good loans from the higher leagues, which John still spotted, and a couple from the scout reports that are going to improve our first team squad. So we start with the man who has allowed Jack James to go out on loan, which is Luke Matheson, a name that many know well, was originally a bit of a wonder kid at the age of 16 at Rochdale, was an immediate impact when he came into the first team, played well in some high profile games, got his move to Wolves and it hasn't really worked out since. So we're going to see how he develops here, but the crucial thing for us is he's a natural right back, natural right wing back, great natural fitness, Very professional personality too. He just seems to fit into the way we want to be perfectly. He's made a few appearances and done all right so far, and he's now virtually match fit, so should well have a big impact. On the other side of that is a man that we'd already made an offer for, I think, in the last episode, or had on trial, one of the two. Will Ferry came in. He is a natural left wing back, but can play further forward and further back. He's a complete wing back. He's got talent going forward and backwards in terms of attributes. And while he hasn't got the determination or the professionalism, he has still got bundles of potential. And he's been a youth international for Ireland. So we've definitely got quality on that side. And his one became even more important because of an injury we picked up not long after. The next one was a bit of a John Still find that we didn't know much about. Cavan Williams comes in from East Grinstead. He's a natural striker, but his attributes actually suit being a wide man a bit more. He's better on the ball, he's got a good cross, and he's electric quick, but he's not got the finishing attributes. He is 6'2" and good in the air, so as an emergency target man might be alright. Not very strong for a tall man though, but I do like what he's got in the locker. He's definitely got potential, so we bring him in, having been a youth player at Bournemouth and Nice, and we see how he develops this season. Potentially could be a bit of a star, but we'll try and loan him out if we can later this season. The other three to come in are all involved in the first team squad. Marcus Dackers is someone that's actually been mentioned by a couple of our regulars. I think Connor mentioned it with Dover. He popped up as a loan option from John Still, and I wasn't going to say no to it. He's just come off the bench and made his debut and got man of the match from a substitute appearance. Scored a goal, got an assist, won us the game. And actually, if you have a look at him, his attributes are perfect. He's a good finisher. He's quick. He's strong. He's great in the air. And he's 6'7". And it does coincide with other news as well, which is that most of the last month and a half, Harry Cardwell randomly got unhappy about a team talk from a friendly in July. But he didn't become unhappy about it until September. Little bit of an odd one, and I did report it to see if it was an issue, but even though Cardwell has just ended his unhappiness before this game, we have now got three brilliant strikers to cover two positions. And Dackers, he's someone I look at maybe as a loan signing for this year. And then can we keep him permanently if we go up or we look like promotion contenders? So we'll keep an eye on that one for the future as well. But Idris Odateo is the next one for now. He is the player that we'd been tracking since the start of the summer as a left back option. In the end, we opted to go for Lewis Page with a bit more experience and a bit more solidity first. He got injured for 4 months early in September, so now we're going for Idris Odateo as a backup. We've got Will Ferry, we've got Ryan Haynes, we've got good footballers out there. In the midfield areas, we've got the likes of Mooney, we've got Callum Powell who can play there too. So it's not like he's suddenly going to be playing a lot of football this year, albeit he played a fair few games for Oxford City at this level last season. He's got experience of playing at this standard, but he's someone who for me comes in almost like a Jack James last year, where maybe play 15 odd games, get a bit of training, get a bit of development under your belt, and then either go out on loan, become first choice, develop, move on a free, whatever it is next summer, depending on how well he gets on in training. But we're going to keep an eye on him because take aside his positioning, which is really poor, and that's something I hate in a defender, I've got to admit. He is someone who's got plenty to offer, particularly maybe further forward as a wing-back. So he's a little bit of a gem potentially. One that also is another spot from John Still, which is Harrison Parker on loan from Manchester City. 18-year-old centre-half, which allows us to send Joe Rye out for experience. And I've got to be honest, when he went in for him, not knowing his attributes, with a 50 quid a week loan offer, I thought, do you know what? He'll just do as a backup. We'll have him in the club. We'll see how he gets on. A bit like we had with 1 or 2 last year. We had Obi at one point. We got Cole Kopechwa in for a bit, didn't we? But this guy is a gem. 6'2", naturally in the cover role in the middle of a back three, which is where we've struggled as well. He's good on the ball. He's good in the air. He's good in the tackle. He's composed. I mean, he looks like he's going to grow into a City centre-half. Maybe not quite a first-team level, but that kind of profile of defender. So I'm really excited to have him here. He will make his debut today due to an injury we had in a week. And Harrison Parker, I think, might become a little bit of a gem of a signing. So John Still, combining the director of football's qualities and eye for a player, with me being involved in the scout reports and that as well, it really is leading to a strong squad. And for now, I feel that we've got a squad that can compete for the playoffs. And it's proven that on the pitch as well. Because since you were last here, we have not lost any games. Couple of draws on the road, but overall, very solid defensively. Very good going forward. And now Harry Cardwell's ended as unhappiness, it might get even better. We obviously had that slow start, which I didn't panic about because apart from Chesterfield, we dominated the other games. We then won 4 in a row. You saw 2 of them on camera against Scunthorpe and Dagenham at the end. And since then, we've gone from strength to strength. But I did mention on paper, it was a fairly friendly run of games. We talked about it at the end of the last episode. The only team we've played that are brilliant are Altrincham. They're top, and that's the only game they've lost. They've surprised everyone. But otherwise, we've played teams you would expect to maybe struggle more. Next month, we might learn a bit more about our side. We'll look at the reasons why in a minute, but the games we played off camera were against Dorking with a 2-1 win, Leighton Stewart getting a goal after we criticised him in the last episode, against Altrincham a 4-1 win, Mooney's brace Cardwell and Stewart, a 1-1 draw at Altrincham thanks to a late Cardwell penalty, against Rochdale we won 3-1, Jack Earing, Dan Mooney and Leighton Stewart with them, a big 1-0 win away at Barnet thanks to Sonny Hilton, a comfortable 4-0 at home to Gateshead with a Cardwell hat-trick, 6-3 against Weymouth, 4 for Stewart, 1 for Haynes and 1 for Powell. I think that might have been Haynes' first for the club. The 0-0 at Halifax was a very decent result with Van Dengen D being a star of the show. And then a 3-0 win at home to Dartford, Dackers being the star off the bench, but Stewart and Kingdon also getting 1-2. So that moves us into these 2 games in very good form. But we mentioned Yeovil are in the top 7, Chesterfield are as well, we've got them in the cup. Then 8th place York, 9th place relegated Newport, 12th place also relegated Harrogate, 11th place Ebbsfleet, and then 4th place Oldham. It is not an easy run of games. I mean, Fylde are mid-table, Hartlepool are top 5. So the run now to Christmas is probably going to test us a lot more than what we've just had. We'll have more midweek games than usual as well. But these are the games I want to show because they're the ones that show how good we are, not beating the bottom half teams pretty comfortably. So let's go and get into it. Yeovil away first, a side promoted, but now looking incredibly strong. They've got some very good players. They've got a good manager, as we know. And I would expect them to be a real opposition for us here. Manny Monte, one of many they've signed. They play very front-footed football. You can see here, they're playing a genuine front 4 attacking. So we're going to have to go to our back 3 tactic, try and be a little bit more defensive. Let's go and get our team picked. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, here's the team that we've picked for today, and aside from a couple of enforced changes, I've generally gone for the more defensive options in most positions. So Ryan Haynes, for example, will play left wing back instead of Will Ferry, who's the more aggressive attacker. You could argue that Matheson on the other side is perhaps a slight exception, but he's a better wing back than Scott Morris and a better player, so makes sense to get him in there. We've also still edged Cardwell above Dackers as the starting striker because Cardwell's ended his unhappiness. Dackers was man of the match off the bench anyway. We've also got Leighton Stewart there if need be. So this is the team we've gone for in full. We've got Ndee between the sticks, as you know. We have had to bring Parker in for a debut as the middle centre half because Lomas picked up an injury. Taylor's been out injured as well. And obviously Rye's now gone out on loan too. So a little bit threadbare in that position today. Kensdale and the high-flying Kingdon are either side of him. What a signing he's been at right centre half. Matheson and Haynes, the wing-backs we've talked about. Earing and Titchmarsh, the established midfield too. Then Hilton and Mooney off Cardwell up front with plenty of quality on the bench if needed. Let's go and get through and submit the team. This is a big game, as is the FA Cup tie, and nothing is more important than the National League. We are 5 points off the top. We're 1 ahead of Chesterfield, just 7 ahead of Yeovil in 6th as well. It could get tight if we don't win this one. Let's go and see what we can do. Well, only one change for Yeovil, and the man that I talked up, Manny Monte, is the man that they've dropped out. So we're going to tell the lads to pick up where they left off. We're flying high with confidence, but you saw there, Yeovil won 4 of their last 5 as well, unbeaten too. So let's see how this one pans out. Not as big a crowd as we're getting, but a very good side with momentum. They've come up and they've hit form straight away. So we've got to try and stop them here. But they're going to be aggressive for sure. So we've got a corner kick with 14 on the clock. Haynes puts it in. Headed over again. Great opportunity there. We are missing a few more from set pieces this year, which is a bit of a concern. Maybe Dackers will change that as the year goes on. Kingdon got one in the last game, but it's been few and far between. Maybe that's why we're not winning as many as heavily as we did early last season. Having said that, half an hour gone. It's been a very solid display so far. And I don't want to speak too soon, but we've generally been better defensively this year. 4 league clean sheets in a row. And it's only been when we've changed the team we've had trouble. As we're 3 minutes to the break, it's been another quiet game. And we're playing up to Cardwell, who's dropped in from the target man, and he's lost it. It better not cost us. I played him today. I was so tempted to drop him, and I have been almost punished for my loyalty. Great save from Ndee, who has been brilliant so far. But Cardwell has made a big mistake, and he's under pressure because he got unhappy about next to nothing. Someone's come in and looks better than him. And there's a point where I have to stop being loyal here. There is a hard turnover of players in non-league. We have to accept it. And if we find a better striker, he probably has to start. Half-time, 0-0, same as it was at Halifax. But for now, I'm happy with how we're performing. We've just got to get it over the line. Well, it's a goal kick for Yeovil. A few minutes gone in the second half, and you can see they're trying to play out from the back, nowhere near as direct as us. They're playing out wide, they're playing down the line, and they're trying to keep things tidy as they get it with Owers up to the striker, and that's where I'm annoyed. We should be pressing that high with three centre-halves. We've not won it back, and now they can play out again. Cardwell almost nicks it, but again, we're just beaten to it. Now they play away down the left. Matheson does really well. To Parker on debut, into Titchmarsh. Good football so far there. Back out to Kensdale, and that's a poor ball. Mooney makes something of it. Every pass a little overhit here at the minute. Kensdale gets it on the left. He plays into Haynes. That's better football. Here into Haynes again. Mooney's making a run. Cardwell in as well. Haynes crosses. Just beyond Cardwell. He's up second time though. Fold's clearance was poor. Brilliant run from Haynes. Probably the first time in that back three I've really seen that interchange between the winger and wing back. But it works really well. The confidence, the relationships are building. And Harry Cardwell has got his goal. He ends his unhappiness and he's back in form. What a miracle. We've got 20 minutes to go. We are in a 3-game week, so I think we're going to have to think about subs. We're going to take Hilton off on the right. He's going to be replaced by Will Ferry, I think. And we're going to go for him in front of Haynes with Mooney off the right. He'll drop to a support duty for now. We're also going to go for Noor Hussein, who'll replace Erin as the box-to-box. And in the final change, we're going to take off Cardwell for Dackers. That's why we've brought this man in, because we want genuine competition. Hilton did what he needed to. He was a great sub option, and 3 or 4 years younger, he would have been a gem for us. But now, it's all about the future, and Dackers might be that. As Yeovil get in, hang on a minute. I talk about the run of clean sheets, and it dries up. Cashman given the goal, and that, unfortunately, appeared to be a tired right centre-half, and a centre-half who has never played for the club before. We have got to bear in mind we've got a debutant in there. It was always going to be a bit tricky, but that's not an ideal goal to concede. Having said that, a 1-1 draw at a side in the playoffs with your best centre-half out injured and a very tired squad on a Tuesday night, I will take that. It's a very good result. We're keeping the unbeaten run going. We're looking good against the good sides in the league. And if we can just pick up lots of draws through this run of tricky games, we're still going to be in the mix. Altrincham are flying. Nobody's stopping them. Chesterfield won 5-1 at Dorking. They've got outright quality. Altrincham are doing brilliantly. They've got a very good squad. We'll wait and see how they compete when the crunch time comes. But for now, a very good point on the board. Another unbeaten game. So let's get ahead to Saturday. The big one against Chesterfield. The FA Cup first round comes to town. Well, we've made a lot of changes for this game, but I'm not sure it's quite as dramatic as it initially looks, because if we're being honest, changing shape back to 4-4-2 means that Dackers is going to come in with Stewart. Stewart would have come in anyway for this formation. We've also got Lomas and Scott Morris coming back in, which would happen for a back four as well. And Powell, Ferry are by no means backups, with Wright coming back in goal, which was always going to happen for the Cup. So what that does mean is that we've got Wright between the sticks for just the second time at this club. Scott Morris and Haynes the fullback with Kensdale and Lomas as centre-half. Powell in on the right with Ferry on the left. Morehouse and Hussein, the only area we've really gone for a full rotation in centre midfield. And then Dackers in alongside Stewart up front. Dackers giving Cardwell a rest and competition for places, and Stewart would be first choice in this. Kingdon and Parker don't even make the bench due to fatigue. Couple of others on there who probably shouldn't come on. But everyone else who is available is fit and raring to go. Well, it's 3 changes for Chesterfield, and I'm particularly keen to keep an interest in this battle between our right centre forward and their left centre half. Samuel for them is 5'10", Dackers is 6'7", and he's the target man. We've got to get the crosses into him. Their right back's 5'7" as well. There could be a little bit of vulnerability for them back there. Let's go and get through the dressing room though. Tell the lads to prove a point. How is the goalkeeper and centre forward complacent? Stewart has been a big problem for me on that front, and it has affected his performances a bit. He could probably be the best striker in the league if it weren't for that. He is now inspired, but right has not changed. So let's go and get through the match preview and into the first half. We're just a minute and a half on the clock, and we're back with Chesterfield clearing away. Don't really want low crosses towards Samuel, given the height difference in there. But Kensdale's got it in the centre circle for Morehouse, who goes wide to Haynes. Now we can get it in. Very fine Stewart. He's one-on-one. Great first touch. And then puts it wide. Imagine how well that would have gone if you weren't complacent. The first touch was unbelievable. Took the defender out the game. And then puts it wide via the post as Scott Morris gets it on the right. We've started well here, you know. Houston gets it back to Lomas, who's back in after midweek off. Morehouse into midfield. Not played him a lot this season, I'm being careful. When he has come in, he's looked good as Haynes goes back to Kensdale. Over the top he looks and no one's there. Why did we see that? That is not a key highlight. Lioness will get it in goal though, and he'll be trying to create one from here. We're going to press him down. It goes to Rashesha, the right back, and out to Mandeville. Very good player at National League level, as is Jacobs, but Kensdale gets there first, and Ferry brings out a little back heel. Nice animation that. Kensdale comes into midfield with it. Finds Morehouse, who's running the game so far. Up to Dackers, who goes wide. Powell's on the overlap. There's no one there. Now he's got to go for the big cross. Morehouse is up. Wasn't even Dackers who got the header in. But the height that he brings maybe dragged other players out of position, I don't know. Powell just hooks it up in the air. And Morehouse, yet again, has come into the team and scored. There is a point where I'm questioning, does he have to overtake Husin? Because he's not rated quite as well. He always delivers the performance. So we're 20 minutes gone. We're 1 up in the FA Cup. And Morehouse is the man delivering again. As Haynes got a throw on the left. He is on a booking already. Finds Husin. Of course, if we can get a few up, I can bring on that new left back. But that's probably wishful thinking at this point. As Jacobs goes back to his centre half. And now Naylor. Option to go wide. It was a good ball. But they're keeping it well. They're looking nice. And they've got some very good players in there. Naylor was playing in League One and the Championship not that long ago. As Elawari goes wide to Rashesha. Up to Naylor again and Jacobs. Finds Rashesha. Chesterfield definitely intent on keeping possession. Big ball forward to the centre forward who we tried to loan earlier in the year. Noldacre gets it to Mandeville. Don't be a penalty. Cuts back to Dobra. There's the quality. Armando Dobra puts it in. Mandeville sets it up. And despite dominating the first quarter of the game, we now find ourselves at 1-1 just because of a bit of quality. Well, as we reach half-time, you can see again, we've been dominant in this game, but we have not taken the chances. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point. I am sick of this complacent goalkeeper. We can see why Southampton were so happy to loan him out now. Into the second half, they're trying to keep the ball. We're dominating the game without scoring. And now at 1-1, this could get tricky for us because we've had a few games, haven't we? Go back to Borehamwood on the opening day. Dominated, didn't take our chances, got caught out. And with 25 to go, fatigue, yellow cards, all those things got to be considered. As is complacency, because look at the performances. Stewart is the man struggling most. He is the man who, of the outfield players, was most complacent today. So I'm going to bring on Dan Mooney for Haynes and switch him with Ferry. I'm going to take Stewart off for Cardwell and put Dackers as the advance forward. And then I'm also going to go Morehouse off, who's knackered. Not quite got the fitness just yet. He'll be replaced by Jack Earing. I'm going to try and be a bit more aggressive on the right side of the fence by bringing on Matheson for Scott Morris. And then I'll leave the last one a few more minutes because I just want to keep it in case of an injury suspension. We don't want to go down to 10. They do look a bit more fatigued than us, but equally, they'll grow in confidence from getting through and weathering our storm. We put in our best display and we haven't beaten them. And a bit like the FA Trophy final, a bit like some of the other games we've seen, this could come back to bite us as Cardwell, with a poor-headed clearance, falls to the edge of the box. And to be fair, Kensdale got a good block on there, and Wright ended up making a very good save. We've got one more change that can be made. Dackers is knackered up front. I haven't got a striker on the bench, but I can push Mooney up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go Mooney up front as the left centre forward. Back to the old tried and trusted with Cardwell and him. Powell to the left, Hilton to the right. 10 minutes to go plus stoppage time. The last thing we want when we're flying in the league is a replay. So can we push on and get the winner? We're going to encourage the lads. We are going to be positive. We're going to try and get the reaction here. But to be honest, the second half, Chesterfield have looked more likely, though Powell wins it back. Has his centre-half options, goes to Lomas and now Husin, all the way back to the keeper, which was just unnecessary there. Has had a good game today, though, as Kensdale, into Husin again. Back to Kensdale. Where is this going? It's going with a poor pass, that's where. Nelson cuts in from the left. It's so bad. That's offside for Dobra. Surely. The flag eventually goes up. Very poor pass out, though, across your own goal. And we almost threw away our FA Cup tie. 1-1. I'm furious that we aren't through, given our first half display. And now it's about hanging on, because Rashesha, he gets it on the right. Chance to cross. He beats his man. Can he get the ball in, though? Yes, he can. There's few up. And Kensdale heads away. Bates will get there, though. 30 yards out. Back to Clements again. Chesterfield absolutely dominant, finishing this game well, despite having the inferior fitness. Just shows you the game changers they've got on the bench, doesn't it? We have forced them back to their goalkeeper. But they're not doing anything with it. Now they play out, and it's so easy. Where's our pressing gone? We've got fresh legs in there, and it doesn't look it. Though Cardwell's nicked it on halfway for Hilton. The freshest sub of the lot. Takes him on, finds Cardwell again. Good first touch, he's got men in the middle. Cardwell in stoppage time, across to Mooney. Oh, it's a penalty. He's been penalised for holding. I thought it was an offside he'd given. Now Harry Cardwell in the 93rd minute has the chance to wrap it up. Oh, that is cheeky. Panenkered it to the side of the keeper. And now we are going to time waste our backsides off. Defensive fullbacks, wingers on support, and defensive-minded midfielders for the rest of this game. Let's get the time wasting and all of that stuff on and see out the last couple of minutes. Well, there it is. No further highlights, and say what you want about the other players in this team. Harry Cardwell is still the hero. He's still the talisman here. Steps up with a very confident penalty late on. And we nick a 2-1 win into the second round. Let's see who we're going to be facing, because if it's a good one, it could form part of the next episode. Well, it may or may not still form part of the next episode, because in the second round, we will be facing either 9th place League One side Salford or 20th place National League side Gateshead. And of course, I think you can tell which one of those we'd rather be showing on camera. But if we get the other, the third round might be an opportunity. If we have a look at when we're going to be back, though, there are some good games around that point. So we're going to come back in around mid-December. We've got Hartlepool away, we've got Chesterfield away, or potentially a couple of weeks earlier, we've got Salford City. We'll wait and see how that pans out and whether we get a League One side or not. If you want to stay up to date and find out, and you did enjoy this one, 2 very good, tight defensive displays, a good draw away at Yeovil despite a debutant in the back 3, and a really good late win against Chesterfield, revenge in the FA Cup at last. And please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of all the signings and the players leaving the club. There's no doubt we've improved the strength in depth here. And can we push on any higher than the playoff places, which at the moment, it looks tough because Altrincham are flying. Let me know where you think we're going to finish, and if you want to stay up to date and find out, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with either a League One side in the FA Cup or big National League games again. I hope you're looking forward to that, but in the meantime, we have got a big new season starting in the head coach today. Will we have moved clubs? And if not, will we have a transfer special that can help us out? The director of football will decide that. You can also follow us on Twitch or at the Football Podcast, both up in the eye above. But thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.